Dear children, today as we celebrate Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, we are bound to talk about his teachings, his values, and his contribution to the freedom struggle. But there are so many world leaders who have shared many such valuable thoughts. So, what makes Gandhiji so different? The fact that he always practiced what he preached. He didn't just lead, he led by example. And that should be our biggest takeaway of the day if we truly want to celebrate him and his teachings. So let's not just hear what will be shared in today's assembly, but also act upon our learning thereafter. Only then will we truly be living the Gandhian way. Namaste.
The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. A very appropriate quote said and practiced by our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Namaste, dear parents.
Today is 2nd October 2021, the 153rd birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. We also observe this day as the International Day of Non-Violence to commemorate his best known and most widely accepted teaching. Let's join our hands to pay tribute to this Messiah.
Namaste. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Do you know whose words these are? But of course, Mahatma Gandhi. He believed we are thinking beings. We think, we speak, and we take action. But when our words and actions are not in sync, we essentially are teaching ourselves and others that we can't be trusted. Feeling good about oneself is the foundation for positive thinking and leading a happy life. We must love ourselves before we can love and serve others. Namaste.
That's all very nice and good to learn. But I am wondering, who is Gandhiji? I haven't met him before.
Well, let me tell you who he is. You see this person? He is the father of our nation, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, also fondly known as Bapu for us children.
His full name is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and he is affectionately referred to as Mahatma Gandhi. The title Father of the Nation was given to him by another well-known freedom fighter, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, because he was spearheading India's fight for freedom.
देवी हमें आजादी बिना खड़ग बिना ढाल साबरमती के संत तूने कर दिया कमाल आंधी में भी चलती रही गांधी तेरी मशाल साबरमती रघुपति राघव राजा राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम। धरती पे लड़ी तूने अजब ढंग की लड़ाई, दागी न कहीं तो बना बंदूक चलाई, दुश्मन के किले पर भी न की तूने चढ़ाई, बाहरे फकीर खूब करामात दिखाई, चुटकी में दुश्मनों को दिया देश से निकाल, साबरमती के संग तूने कर दिया कमाल, दे दी हमें आजादी बिना खड्ग बिना ढाल, साबरमती के संग तूने कर दिया कमाल, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम।
Is one icon who is loved and respected by the people all across the world. Not only for his relentless contribution to India's freedom struggle, but more for his teachings. Down generation leaders like Barack Obama, Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein and Nelson Mandela were all deeply motivated by them.
A man of honesty, a man of greatness. He is our Mahatma, the father of our nation. Today we are going to present a poem on Gandhi ji.
O great leader Gandhi ji, we all call you Bapu ji. O father of nation, you made a sensation when you got us independence without any violence.
Oh, great leader Gandhi ji, you practiced law in South Africa and told the British to quit India and fought for India's freedom without any weapons.
Oh great leader Gandhi, you told the Indians to burn with easy and buy freely. You made salt, you went to Dandy, you made clothes with khadi. Truth was your way of life. Peace, love and unity. Always close to your heart. Plain, clean, simplicity. Your power and your armor.
Gentleness of ahimsa, your strength and your weapon. You won the wars of hatred with pure true affection. Smiled away as clear as a simple shining crystal. Oh dear Bapuji, father of our nation. Revisit some of the values he would have liked to see inculcated in us.
Gandhiji's love for children was deep and abiding. It was no ordinary love. It was unique in its depth and astonishing in its hilarity. Here is a story that might help you understand what children meant to Gandhiji. Soon after his return from South Africa, a meeting of the Congress was held in Bombay. One day, a man called Kaka Sahib found Gandhiji anxiously looking around his desk.
Where is it? Bapuji, what's the matter? What are you looking for? I am looking for my pencil. It was only so big. Here, take a new one. No, I want my own little pencil. Well, use it for the time being. We'll find your pencil later. Don't waste your time looking for it now. You don't understand, Kakaji. That little pencil is very precious to me. Natesan's son gave it to me in Madras. He gave it to me with so much love and affection. I cannot bear to lose it. Okay, let me help you find it. We found it. Thank God. Now let's go to the
last, they found it. A tiny piece, barely 2 inches long. But Gandhiji was delighted to get it back. To him, it was no ordinary pencil. The pencil was not only a token of a child's love, but Gandhiji's commitment to keeping his word. He had promised the child that he would take care of it.
Wow, that was insightful. But this isn't enough as Gandhiji also spoke about the power of truth. Gandhi used Satyagraha in the Indian independence movement and also during his earliest struggle in South Africa. So let's see how. The Champaran Satyagraha of 1917 was the first Satyagraha movement led by Mahatma Gandhi in India and is considered a historically important rebellion in the Indian freedom struggle. It was a farmers' uprising that took place in the Champaran district of Bihar in India during the British colonial period. Let us see what the farmers were protesting against. The farmers were protesting against having to grow indigo with barely any payment for it.
We have to grow indigo on 3 out of 20 parts of our land. After working so hard in our fields, we hardly make any money. On top of that, after growing indigo, the soil loses all its fertility and is not fit to grow rice. What we will do?
We are forced into labor and pay 40 different types of illegal taxes. Our condition is pathetic. Who will save us from our misery?
During the 1916 Lucknow session, farmers' leader Rajkumar Shukla convinced Gandhiji to intervene in this matter.
Bapu, the condition of the indigo farmers is very pathetic. They are very miserable. You have to help them.
I will definitely look into this matter.
Rajkumar Shukla apprises Gandhiji about the miserable condition of the indigo farmers. Gandhiji assures Shuklaji that he will look into the matter and visits Champaran in April 1917. He was served a court summons to leave, but Gandhiji refused to bow down to their will. Around 2,000 locals accompanied Gandhiji. Gandhiji collected 8,000 testimonies from farmers.
I will collect testimonies from every farmer and submit to the Agrarian Inquiry Committee. They have to concede to our demands. Hard-working people cannot be exploited.
These efforts led to the passing down of the Champaran Agrarian Act 1918, which guaranteed more land control, lower rents and greater concessions to the farmers.
Thanks to Bapu, our mystery is over.
Now we will not be forced to grow indigo in our fields. The Champaran Satyagraha brought the farmers into the freedom struggle. In this manner, Gandhiji proved that battles can be fought and won without weapons and violence. This Satyagraha is an inspiration for every Indian to stand up for their rights and fight against inequality. Vande Mataram.
Mahatma Gandhi was a walking enthusiast. Walking, he said, is the prince of all exercises. He began enjoying long walks in high school. As a law student in London, he saved money by walking 8 to 10 miles a day.
Years of walking served him right during the Salt March of 1930, when at the age of 60, he walked 241 miles from his ashram to the sea at Dandi.
On March 12, 1930, Mahatma Gandhi embarked on the historic Salt March from Sabarmati Ashram in Gujarat's Ahmedabad to the village of Dandi in the state's coastal area to protest against the steep tax that the British levied on salt. This significant march came to be known as the Dandi March or the Salt Satyagraha. The 24-day Salt March, which was non-violent in nature, sparked the feeling of nationalism and spirit to fight against injustice in the whole country. But before going into the details of the salt satyagraha, let us see how people reacted to the salt law in distinct parts of the country which was opposed by the British.
The price of salt has increased so much that we cannot afford to buy it.
Yes, certainly. The salt laws imposed by the British make it illegal for Indians to produce, buy, or sell salt.
Anyone who produced salt in India other than the British could be imprisoned for 6 months.
Is that not unfair? As salt not only makes tea, but it is also essential for our health. What will we do without salt?
It certainly is unfair that we are not allowed to produce and sell salt in our own country.
Bapu is the only one who can solve our problems. We must request him to write a letter to the Viceroy.
Next to air and water, salt is perhaps the greatest necessity of life, which is why I shall write a letter to Viceroy Lord Irving right away.
My lord, there's a letter for you.
A letter? From whom?
A letter from Mr. Gandhi.
A letter from Mr. Gandhi? What does he have to say?
My lord, Mr. Gandhi has sent an ultimatum with few demands that should be accepted by the 31st January 1930.
Demands? What demands?
My lord, his demands are reduction of military expenditure, to release all political prisoners, to reduce taxes on land, and abolition of the salt law.
Abolition of the salt law? Tell me one thing. What if these deplorable demands are not accepted?
My lord, this letter states that if his demands are not accepted, then he is going to launch a nationwide satyagraha.
A nationwide satyagraha? These demands are unacceptable. Let's see what happens.
Bapu, there's a problem. Lord Irving has replied to a letter. Here, see this.
My dear friends, there is some bad news for us. Mr. Irving has not conceded to any of our demands. That is why we must start a nationwide satyagraha. Dear Indians, I regard the British rule as a curse upon us. It has impoverished millions of Indians to a system of progressive exploitation and expensive civil and military administration, which our country can never. The British rule has sapped the foundations of our culture and has degraded us spiritually, lacking in the world's strength. We have been reduced to a state almost cowardly, helpless, and political self-help. Salt tax law is grossly unfair for the poor man as the independence movement is for the poorest of the land. So we shall start a civil disobedience against this evil. Vande Mataram!
Vande Mataram!
Mataram.
The next morning, Bapu and his followers leave for Dandi on foot. Let's see what happens.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Now, Bapu and his followers have finally reached Dandi. Let us see what happens.
The salt is from our sea water. Like air and water, everyone has a right to it. And at present, India's self-respect lies in this handful of salt. Now that the ceremonial breach of the salt tax law has been committed, anyone braving the risk of facing persecution is free to make the salt. Let the iron fist holding it be broken, but there be no voluntary surrender of salt. Let us take the pledge. We will follow the path of non-violence.
We will follow the path of non-violence
and fight for our freedom.
And fight
for our freedom.
We will follow the path of non-violence.
We will
follow the path of non-violence
and fight for our freedom.
And fight for our freedom.
Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram.
The salt satyagraha has had a significant impact on the life of the average person, even in the present times. It has taught us to act courageously and not to submit to unjust oppression. It has empowered us to take the right decision at the right time in demanding situations and the importance of self reliance and self respect.
वन्दे मेधादम् वन्दे मातरम् 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 माटी पुकारे तुझे देश पुकारे आजा रे अब आजा रे भूले हम राहे हमें राह दिखा रे आजा रे राह दिखा दे ऐनक पहने लाठी पकड़े चलते थे वो शान से जालिम कांपे थर 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 सुनकर उनका नाम रे कत्था उनका छोटा सा और सरपट उनकी चाल रे दुबले से पतले से थे वो चलते सीना तान के वंदे में था दम वंदे मातरम 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 वंदे मेधादम वंदे मातरम
We piously revisit all his teachings and values every year. But for one, Gandhiji said, sanitation is more important than independence. It is the Gandhian way of life. If we truly value Gandhiji's contribution to our country, we need to do more than lip service. As a small start, let us pledge today to never litter our surroundings and show by example how we can keep our homes, our streets, and our country clean. Let us not forget, the Gandhian way of life also includes keeping the mind clean. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
We have said a lot today, but it's now time to stop that and admire the brushstrokes made by some of our peers. After all, a picture paints 1,000 words and tells you much more.
Namaste. Let me tell you a story. This story is about a young man who started his day with a walk on the beach. One day, as he stepped on the beach, he saw there were hundreds of starfish scattered all along the beach. He felt sad as he knew they would all die and there was nothing he could do. Lost in his thoughts, he was walking along the beach when he noticed a boy picking up something and gently throwing it back into the ocean. Approaching the boy, he asked, "What are you doing?" The boy replied, "Throwing back starfish back into the ocean, sir. The tide is going out, and if I don't throw them back, they will all die." The man was surprised. He said, Don't you realize there are hundreds of starfish? You can't make a difference. You cannot save them all. After listening politely, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it back into the ocean. Then, smiling up at the man, he said, I made a difference to that one. I saved its life. Would you like to help me save them all? In life, we all get opportunities to create positive change, yet we hold back. This is especially true when we are talking about addressing massive social problems like tackling world hunger. But while you may not be able to change the entire world, you at least have the power to change a small part of it for someone, even if it is one person, like the boy in our story who truly believed he could make a change, much like Gandhiji, to whom we have dedicated today's assembly. Bapu, as we fondly call him, was a man of principles and he stood by them, even if it meant standing alone. In India, we call him the father of the nation, yet he belonged to no single country or nation. People from all over the world still come to Rajghat to pay their silent homage to him, not because he was royalty, but because his thoughts encompassed humanity way beyond religion, caste, or creed. As the future of the world, you, my dear students, must embrace his principles and spread peace with your words and your deeds. Be the change you want to see in the world. Namaste.